Factor follow-up segment tonight. 48-year-old Mamadou Soumer, an illegal alien from Mali, has received permission to return to West Africa to bury his 4 children killed in that horrendous fire in the Bronx. Mr. Soumer will then be allowed to return to the USA to pursue an asylum claim, and I believe that is the humane thing to do in this case. In fact, I would give Mr. Soumer a green card because American officials were complicit in the death of his children, as we reported. New York is a sanctuary city. City employees often ignore the situations of suspected illegal immigrants. Therefore, 22 people were living in a dwelling designed for 8 at most. We showed you the floor plan last night. The house was a substandard situation and dangerous. With us now is the immigration attorney representing Mr. Soumer, Michael Wiles. Okay, you know, look, you have a situation here where this man has gone through an unspeakable tragedy. And I think that the United States, being a compassionate nation, do everything the country can do to help him and his family. And if that means giving him a green card, then we should do that. But there comes a point where his culture clashes with American culture. Would you agree with that?
I wouldn't agree that the culture clashes, because America is a melting pot of just about every culture. No doubt, Bill, we have to make sure that there is no stacking. I'm a mayor of a city in New Jersey, in Englewood, where we had 3 fatalities. I know the costs that schools and hospital bills are shifting to taxpayers because the silence on immigration issues in Washington is deafening.
Okay, but if you know all that and you've seen it firsthand and there have been fatalities in your town, you know then that people from Mali will, because they're in America, live 22 in a place designed for 8. For them, it's okay.
Any landlord that would allow an illegal tenancy, or any tenant that creates an illegal tenancy, should be prosecuted. The issue in this case has more to do with the immigration journey that he's taking.
The guy who owned the house lost 4 children. Your client lost 4. The guy who owned the house lost 5.
My client is going back, Bill, to meet his other 3 children in Mali.
In Mali, right.
To bury his dead.
When you say there isn't a clash of cultures, I have to disagree very vehemently with that. There were 2 wives here of the guy who owned the house. He had 2 wives. You had 22 people in a house designed for 8 at the most.
We're not disagreeing. No doubt there are unintended consequences from the silence in Washington.
Okay,
and
good.
No doubt that the local communities,
New York City.
Of course, and no doubt local governments have to now ferret out more predators instead of having them removed by the federal authorities, look for alien absconders. Those are criminals that have actually committed crimes. The question is, when we help people through tragedies, Bill, I represented 9/11 World Trade Center spouses. Their spouse died, and they were effectively going to be removed in immigration proceedings, leaving children born here without parents.
You can't do that.
You can't do that.
But let me ask you, I sent a client over to you, a Pakistani guy,
yes,
who was driving for me, and you got him status to stay here.
I'm not permitted to talk because of confidentiality.
I'll tell you. You were successful. You're a very good lawyer. Okay, but this guy was basically a guy who was doing everything right and got caught up. And we feel very sorry for those, so much so that I'll help any of them that I can help to stay here. But here we have a different situation. Here we have people from Mali who will accept the deprivation of living 22 in a house. It's the responsibility of the city to make sure those people are safe, is it not?
Absolutely, the responsibility when it comes to code enforcement,
right,
housing, education.
But there was no violation in there.
The problem is, Bill, again, since Washington is not policing the borders, we do not have an effective departure control, we have no idea where people are.
Absolutely.
Then the city does not have the resources not only to ferret out the bad guys, but to police the good guys who are living well. This is a family who had several applications.
I'm glad we're in agreement, because the city basically turns a blind eye to everything if there's a suspected illegal alien. But what is the responsibility of your client? What is the responsibility of him? He was here illegally, all right? He packed his children into that house. What is his responsibility?
First, I cannot declare whether or not he was here illegally or not. It's obviously a confidentiality, and I just met the gentleman yesterday.
Go ahead.
Second, and more importantly, without doubt, this gentleman understands the burden that has been placed on him. He made applications. His family is the beneficiary of what his wife intended, and that is to have green cards issued to them. This family will be reunited on U.S. soil, and it was the intention of this woman, when she made all these applications, to have that occur. We are a nation of immigrants. If we lose that flavor, if we lose the ability for somebody to bury the dead, and then have a day,
listen, I would give the guy a green
and then
card.
have a day in court bill. Everybody's entitled, if they're here. It's not criminal to overstay a visa. It's not criminal to overstay a visa. It may be
It's a civil situation.
right, but
All
if
right.
criminals do
Counselor.
things, then they should be ferreted and removed.
I got to run. But here, we must get this under control or more people will die. That's the bottom line.
Agreed.
Coming right back with the big reason American cars are gas guzzlers. Al Gore's not going to like hearing this.